Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. On this episode, we're going to be cooking from Teresa Carle-Sanders' second Outlander cookbook, Outlander Kitchen cookbook. And we're going to be making the Cheerful Chicken's Poulet au Miel, or chicken in honey. So I've already taken care of some of the things. I have some thyme in here, some fresh thyme that she says should be minced. I didn't do such a good job of mincing it, but thyme is so small, and even just pulling it off of the stems is so annoying. So we're just going to leave it as is. It'll be fine. So that's already in here. We're making a sauce that we're going to cook it in. It's kind of like, kind of like a honey mustard sauce, because there's honey and there's mustard, and I can only assume it will taste like honey mustard sauce, but we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and put some of the dry ingredients in here. So it's out of the order that's in the book, but just to be a little bit better with all my stuff, not have to reuse a wet spoon for a dry ingredient. Anyway, whatever. So we have some salt, kosher salt. Hopefully that'll be enough. Mine is Diamond Crystal, which is a little less salty. I talk about that all the time. I'm going to have some pepper. I'm not going to measure this, but there we go. That's good enough. So we need some red wine vinegar. So I'm going to put that in here. There we go. And we need some extra virgin olive oil. That's what I keep in this container. So there we go. And then, so she calls for heather honey, which, yes, my name is Heather, but I do not have any heather honey. I am using, she says, if you don't have it, just use any clear liquid honey. I don't know that any actually clear liquid honey exists. You can get lighter or darker. This is not very light. But it's just regular honey, not a creamed honey for sure. You want liquid honey. So I've measured that in here. And we're going to put that in the bowl. And then I'm going to use this to measure the Dijon mustard, just so I don't have to wash two of these. So that's good enough. So now I'm going to whisk it. She just says to stir it up, but I thought whisking it would be fine and would make me feel better. So if it'll whisk. But honey is kind of chilly. It's winter, you know, when I'm making this. So the honey is a little extra viscous. You can kind of tell with my sauce, it's that I did not do a great job with the thyme. There are a few basically full pieces, but I don't care. All right. So that is the marinade sauce. We're going to cook it in this, whatever. That's the sauce. I'm going to clean up a little bit. So now that we've got our sauce made, I have these bone-in, skin-on pieces. I've chosen thighs, and I cut a little bit of the extra skin off of it because I just didn't want there to be like pools of fat, and I wanted there to be a skin side and a not skin side, because we're going to start with the skin side down, but we're going to turn it skin side up so the skin gets crispy. Hopefully, we'll see if that works, but don't know. Haven't tried it before, so we will see together. So now I'm just kind of getting these tossed in the sauce, getting them coated nicely. I'm gonna put these aside, put my plate in the sink, and we're gonna get the pan ready. So she says to use either a ceramic or glass baking dish. I've decided I'm gonna use this. And we're going to coat it liberally in, or generously, I believe she says, in olive oil. So I'm just gonna put a bunch in there, and I'm going to use this brush to try to get the sides as well. She says you can use any chicken pieces you want, either all the same or a cut up chicken. I ended up using a little bit less than what she calls for in the recipe, just because my family doesn't need the whole amount, and the container I bought was probably enough to feed us 2 meals. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the rest of it, but it's in the refrigerator, just waiting for me to decide. We're going to arrange our chicken skin side down. So I'm just going to make sure it all gets a good coat and put it skin side down. And I think that this should hold all of my pieces. When I have sort of larger pieces and smaller pieces, I like to try to make sure that the larger ones are near the corner in a dish like this, just because I feel like they cook a little bit faster on the corners, but we're gonna have to cook it all anyways. It's all gonna have to be cooked well because chicken. And the last step is to put all of this sauce on top of the chicken, just in the dish, so it will cook with the chicken. There we go. So that's our dish. My oven has been heated to 375 degrees, and I put my rack on the upper middle rack, so it's not the middle rack and not the top rack, but I've got one in between. So that's sort of the position that she asks for. We're going to cook this for 30 minutes. And then we'll show you what we do then. So our chicken has been in the oven for 30 minutes. And now we're going to turn it over such that the skin side is up. And it seems like the juice, the marinade, the sauce, whatever you want to call it, is not enough to completely cover the skin. So it might actually get crispy. I guess we will see, because now we're supposed to cook it for about 30 minutes more, until the skin is browned and the sauce has thickened. So I'm going to put it in the oven, and I'm going to keep an eye on it after, like, I don't know, I'll probably start checking it about 15 minutes, and I'll let you know how long it takes before we think it's done. And I'll definitely be taking the temperature of the chicken just to be absolutely sure. Although, I mean, it looks like it's done a good bit of cooking already, so I don't think by the time it's brown, it will probably be done inside. Anyway, about 30 minutes. We'll let you know how long it takes in just a second. Just took our chicken out of the oven after the full 30 minutes, but not anymore. Honestly, I'm not even going to bother to take its temperature. I am pretty sure that this is completely done. But we are now supposed to let it rest for about 10 minutes, lightly tinted. So we don't want it to, so I'm just going to do that. Maybe like that. I'm not good at this part, and I don't do it very often. There we go. We kind of want the steam to be able to escape a little bit, but we want to keep it warm. So we're going to set a timer for 10 minutes and then we're going to eat. We are supposed to pass the sauce in a bowl on the side with it. So that's probably what I'll do. I think that helps keep the skin crispy. So yeah. So what I'll do is probably plate up all of the chicken and then pour the sauce into a bowl. And we'll take some pictures and show you what it looks like and let you know what we think in just a second. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make the Cheerful Chicken's Poulet au Miel, or chicken in honey, from Teresa Carle-Sanders' Outlander Kitchen 2 cookbook. We liked this recipe a lot. The sauce was delicious. My daughter wanted to eat it on everything, so it ends up being sort of a honey mustard sauce with a little bit, you know, of extra, like the fresh thyme and a little bit of vinegar. It was good. The chicken thighs definitely rendered a lot of extra fat. So there was a layer of fat on it, but it was delicious. I mean, fat makes flavor, right? So fat carries flavor. So there's that. You could do this with a leaner cut of chicken, and it would still be absolutely delicious. And maybe a little better. I don't know. I didn't love the tenting step at the end, and I'm not sure if that is why the skin looked crispy, you know, looked nicely browned, but it was a little bit not as crispy as I would like. And I don't know if it would have been crispy before I tented it for 10 minutes, or if that sort of keeping the heat and the steam around it. I mean, I did lightly tent it as well as I could to try and let some of that out. But I don't know if that was the case, that was the problem, or if it was just that it cooked in the sauce for about half the time. I don't know. I'll have to try it again without that step. I don't usually tent like a chicken or a turkey or anything like that if I want the skin to be crispy. And honestly, for 10 minutes, it's not going to, especially when it's sitting in the hot sauce, I don't think it's going to cool down appreciably. So I don't think the tenting is necessary generally. Anyway, we would definitely make this again. It's pretty easy. None of the ingredients are hard to find. It doesn't take any sort of special steps. So it just takes as long as it takes to roast chicken anyway. So it's not anything extra. You just sort of put the sauce together. You don't have to cook it. You just mix it up, toss your chicken in, roast it for a while, and then it's done. So really easy. The hardest part is picking the fresh thyme, and honestly, you could probably use dried perfectly well in this recipe, which would be a lot easier. But I mean, I like regular thyme. When I use thyme, I like to just sort of throw it in, and then at the end, like the whole piece, you can just pull out the stems, and it's great. That's my favorite way to use thyme. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this. My editor can edit that out if he wants. I don't know. But anyway, we really liked it. I would try it next time with maybe chicken breast or breast quarters, maybe with the wing. That might be good. Anyway, and it would also be really good, I think, with legs, because they're while the meat is juicier, is a little fatty. It doesn't have quite as much fat on it as the thighs. I ramble. I'm so sorry. But we liked it. I would make it again. And if you make it, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed watching me make this, and if you've made it this far, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and come back and watch me make something else next week.